And just because Remington James keeps saying things like, you know, this was me a long time ago, it's not that long ago, Ren. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're well, safe, and healthy. As you guys know, I'm a psychology student and I'm pretty passionate about cyberbullying. I've made quite a number of videos about cyberbullying to show my stance against cyberbullying, and I just wanted to pose this question to all of you. Let me ask you guys, do you think that Remington James is currently being cyberbullied? Is Remington James a victim, or is it justified that these trolls are against him, or anything like that? Before going further into whether or not Remington James is indeed a victim of cyberbullying, I think it's really important to just look at what's happened so far. And to be honest, so much has happened in the YouTube fitness community or the anabolic dieting community that I can't really keep track, so if I miss anything, do let me know. But from my understanding, it seems like it started out with Remington James being exposed by Exercise for Cheat Meals for stealing recipes, or at least not giving credit where credit is due.
Gram for gram, ingredient for ingredient, cook temperature for cook temperature, the exact same.
Thereafter, people did reaction videos, and Remington James also did a response, which is kind of like a sorry not sorry type of response. I don't really understand that, to be honest, because on the one hand he says he is guilty and he has never been more guilty in his life. On the other hand, he denies the allegations. He says that he has not been stealing. I'm not sure. He seems to think that he does not have the intention to steal, but I would think that, you know, stealing means stealing, whether or not it's intentional. And then the drama does not stop there. After all these drama about stealing and whatever, people are now looking into his Anabars. I mean, Coach Greg Doucette, aside from expressing his disappointment with Remington James for not giving a responsible and thorough response regarding the stealing recipes issue, Coach Greg has also reviewed his Anabars. And, well, I think that Coach Greg's video is more kind of like neutral, but if we turn our attention to Exercise for Cheat Meals, it seems that Nick is a little bit more hostile, I would say.
But I did hear that Remington has been making gains.
Nick also goes into how Remington James has not been really consistent with what he's been preaching. For example, Remington James consistently in the past, and also quite ironically, claimed that sugar and peanut butter and all of that are just not good ingredients to incorporate in your diet because they are both high in calories and just not super healthy. But these things ironically seem to be the main ingredients of his Anabars. Like, I have not tasted the Anabars before, so I can't really tell. I believe that the Anabars would taste good with these ingredients, but well, to me, the calories are actually really high. Like, I don't think I can have the Anabars in my diet on a consistent basis. Of course, because of all these drama, we see a lot of YouTube videos directed at Remington James. Some people cite Remington James, some people not so much. Aside from YouTube videos though, it seems like there are a lot of Instagram posts and stories about Remington James, and these things can be pretty hurtful. I mean, if you look at the Iron Musket's Instagram, it seems like he is making fun of Remington James, and he seems to have a lot of fun doing that. And like, yeah, I'm gonna put up some screenshots to show how the memes and trolls have been. And this just makes me wonder, like, do you guys think that at this point Remington James is a victim of cyberbullying? I mean, okay, before we get to that even, let's also look at the definition of cyberbullying. From what I understand, cyberbullying is when people post or send messages or, you know, photos that are negative, harmful, false, mean, embarrassing, and humiliating. And although I'm a big fan of the Iron Musket, I think that he does have some characteristics of cyberbullying. Well, not him, but his stories and his posts do have some characteristics of cyberbullying. Like, okay, can we say that his posts are harmful? Probably not. I mean, like, if anything, it's doing actually a lot more good than harm, because as he posts more about Remington James, more people are gonna know more about Remington James, and like, he's gonna gain a larger fan base. Like, who knows, right? Can we say it's false? Well, it's not false because, you know, Remington James, I think the evidence is pretty clear. He has indeed stolen some recipes, and the Anabars are actually not as good as we would expect in terms of macros and calories, right? And also, he's lacking integrity because he's not preaching what he used to preach before. And just because Remington James keeps saying things like, you know, this was me a long time ago, it was not super long ago when he said peanut butter and sugar are bad ingredients. Like, so it's not that long ago, Ram. But I would argue that the posts and stories by the Iron Musket, or the trolls and the memes and all that stuff, are pretty negative, pretty mean, pretty embarrassing, and pretty humiliating. This is not a matter about which YouTuber or influencer you support. I think this is kind of like a moral dilemma, because these YouTubers and influencers like the Iron Musket, Exercise for Cheat Meals, Not Dead Yet, they're trying to fight for justice, right? They're trying to raise awareness. But maybe the way which they're doing this is not the most correct way, because you can actually interpret their actions as cyberbullying. I'm not sure what Remington James thinks about that, but I'm sure he does not like it. That's why he blocked them to begin with, right? On the one hand, we could say that, hey, you know what? That is not super responsible or loyal or genuine of him. That is like, people can call Remington James like a two-headed snake or anything like that. But on the other hand though, it seems like that would be the right thing to do, because if you think about it, from a social media user perspective, if people are annoying you, you do actually have the right to block that person. I mean, that is why that function exists anyway, right? So like, can we criticize Remington James for blocking Exercise for Cheat Meals or the Iron Musket? Is he justified? Something for us to think about. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that he's being cyberbullied, or do you think that these YouTubers are justified because they're trying to raise awareness and fight for justice? I'm not sure. I don't think I know enough. Yeah, I don't think I can come to a conclusion at this point. But speaking as a viewer, speaking as a fan of Coach Greg, speaking as someone who subscribes to Remington James, I mean, Coach Greg was the first YouTuber I got to know when I learned about, you know, anabolic dieting, low-calorie dense foods, and CECO and things like that. And Remington James is the second YouTuber I got to know about these things from. And I got to know Remington James from Coach Greg Doucette. So at that time, we all know that they were on pretty good terms. And to see all these things break apart, to see that these two men are not on super good terms, to see how the anabolic community has so much drama, it just makes me sad that these things are going on. Well, originally the anabolic community was harmonic, we were cooperative, we were happy, and there was no stealing, we gave credit to each other. And like Coach Greg says, we all grow together. But it seems like it's not doing super well now. Like, I'm not saying that everyone is suddenly against each other, but it just feels sad to see that a prominent member of the anabolic community is breaking away from the rest of the other people. And it's also very sad to see that the reason for that is because that person has been unethical. That is my perspective as a viewer, as a YouTuber, as someone who watches Coach Greg, the Iron Musket, and Remington James. I feel pretty sad, I feel very disappointed, and I feel like things should not have to be how it is right now, and it's just sad to look at, you know? But anyhow, I pose a moral dilemma question to you guys. Do you think that Remington James is being cyberbullied? Do you think that the acts of sharing memes and trolls and things like that is a means to raise awareness? Or do you think that the YouTubers have gone too far and now it is more of cyberbullying rather than fighting for justice? I'm not sure. Something for us to think about, something for us to ponder on. And yep, until next time, I'm out.